Okay, but for now, Mike.
For now, what Bull's excited about is this tag board I'm about to take.
Yeah.
Steve, please take tag board full. Bull, you want to explain what this means?
So that Joe Burrow put out an Instagram post yesterday with a way too tight LeBron jersey, and you can see on the bottom it says, he's back.
Yeah.
Burrow, we talked about this yesterday, guys. That was the biggest story yesterday for Week 1, Browns-Bengals, was would Joe Burrow practice yesterday? He did practice. The media, now that it's regular season practice, the media only gets to see 30 minutes. But I was texting with James Rapine both before practice or after the first 30 minutes that he got to see, and then I texted with him and saw some of the other media members saying, because they were talking, apparently the players didn't even realize this was happening, because, or unless they're lying, I don't know. But T. Higgins and Jamar Chase made it seem like they were completely shocked that
he came out.
Yeah, like they weren't. Yeah, they might not be on. Who knows? But anyway, the point is he did practice. Supposedly looked fine. I saw his leg. He didn't have a sleeve on it, so I thought that was interesting. So there was nothing there. Now, when you have a soft, an injury like a calf or a hamstring or a quad, whatever, there's always a concern that you can re-injure it, especially because a lot of times with those type of injuries, like the one he has, sometimes you feel 100%, and then maybe you go full bore in the first game, and it happens again, and then it's a disaster. But for now, as far as we know, Joe Burrow is fully healthy and is going to play when the Browns and the Bengals play the first game of the season for them 10 days from now. The season actually opens 1 week from today when the Chiefs play the Lions. Can't wait for that. But this is the last weekend without football, guys. When the line first came out on this game, back in July or whatever it was, maybe June, the Bengals were a 3-point favorite. It went down to 1.5 with the uncertainty with Burrow, but because it only went down to the Bengals favored by 1.5, Vegas assumed the whole time that Burrow was going to play. Otherwise, the Browns would have become favorites. The Bengals, as of this morning, were still a 2.5-point favorite in Cleveland. If Joe Burrow didn't play, the Bengals starting quarterback would be Jake Browning, who I don't think has ever taken an NFL snap. Can you double check that, Mike?
Jake Browning, NFL snap.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever taken an NFL snap, but I could be wrong. I would think the Browns would be favored by at least a field goal, if not more, probably more. The difference between Burrow and Browning has got to be worth a touchdown, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
And so, obviously, it's a totally different game now that we know for sure that Joe Burrow's playing. Well, your first reaction to this, G. Bush, when you saw is there a little part of you that's happy because you want to beat the best to be the best, or are you like, well, this sucks because without him, we had a not that the Browns can't win, it's a toss-up game, but obviously the Browns' chances of winning are significantly higher with Jake Browning. Well, I might not even be saying his name right. I don't even remember.
He has never played an NFL snap.
Yeah, it is Jake Browning, right?
Jake Browning, correct.
Yeah. He's never played a game in the
NFL. Here's the thing that I want to do. Like, if you're the Browns, you get confidence by doing what? Beating people who are guys that are somebody in this league. We just sat here and said for the whole preseason, oh, that doesn't count because they're third stringers, or that doesn't count because of this, that doesn't count because of that. You know what I'm saying? You've discounted things for like the whole summer. So now you get an opportunity to come in first game of the year against a top flight quarterback that's coming into your house where you trying to establish who you are as a team. So yeah, like I want to get some clout off Joe Burrow. I want to get some stripes off him, because if you win that game, now the narrative is what are you gonna say? They came in here and they lost. So as a defense, and as a team, I would rather come in here. If Joe doesn't play, I'm sorry he didn't play. He tried to, whatever the case. I'm gonna still take that win. But when you talk about confidence building and different things like that, I like the fact that it is a Joe Burrow. And I want to see what the adjustment is. So the adjustment to me is, as I go back home and I watched how he got hurt, him rolling out and running is a underrated part of Joe Burrow's game. A very underrated part of what Joe Burrow can do is extending plays, running for first downs, different things like that. If I'm Jim Schwartz, I'm looking at this like, okay, well, I'm going to unleash Myles Garrett. I'm going to unleash Darius Smith. We're going to make him move off his spot. We're going to make him climb the pocket. We're going to make him roll out. We're going to get some pressures at this place or that place to make sure that he has to put that foot down and plant and explode to get out of harm's way. So now I'm looking at the chess match a little bit because, to me, the Browns need to come in. If they can stop the run with Joe Mixon, if they can get him to move off his point a little bit and get him running, I think that there might be something in the back of his mind and am I healthy enough to really do that for game one. So that's my game plan, and I'm excited about the challenge.
Jason, the Browns don't play the Eagles this year in the regular season. They don't play the Bills. They don't play the Chiefs. So any other quarterback you were going to argue better than Joe Burrow. Certainly there's no argument Patrick Mahomes is the best. But the other guys that may be in the debate, Joe Burrow's the best quarterback you're going to face this year.
Yep.
And you're facing him in week one. You like that?
No, I wanted him out. You're trying to get to 10 wins, right? Like, you need 10 wins minimum.
Maybe 11.
But I'm counting to 10. You're not getting in with less than 10. Counting wins at this point. It was funny. I remember there was like conspiracy theory, not conspiracy, but just like people when the Warriors were going on their runs and people were saying like, they're the luckiest team. Like, look at who they played in the playoffs, and this team was without that, and that team was without that, and da-da-da. Hey, man, they still sizing them rings. They still get them rings. Like, injuries are part of the game.
Yeah.
You still count the wins. Just count the wins. So, no, I wanted Joe Burrow. I was hoping the Bengals would sit him for week one and think, hey, we got a lot to play for here. We got a lot more than just week one. Let's sit him an extra week. Obviously, that's not the case now. He's going to play. But, no, if I'm a Browns fan, I don't want to see him out there. I'm just trying to get to 10 wins, no matter what it takes, however you do it. And no Joe Burrow makes it a lot easier to start 1-0. This franchise has won, what, 2 openers now? I think last year was the second win since they came back.
And a tie. 2 wins and a tie.
2 wins and a tie in 20-some. Like, just get the win. So, and that's not to say they can't beat Burrow, obviously, at home in week one, but it's a lot easier without him. So, no, I don't want to see him. No, give me the win.
That being said, with the Browns in a year with everything on the line and with a lot to prove, right? We've talked about the talent a lot, but the Browns have proven, this Browns team has not shown you anything yet. They haven't had an opportunity.
Right.
And they didn't do anything last year. So, obviously they have a better chance to win without Burrow. However, when the game's over, if the Browns win against Jake Browning.
Don't care.
No, I get it. Agreed. I agree.
1-0 is 1-0.
But if they win against Burrow, you're going to feel much better about the team than you would against beating Jake Browning.
I'm going to do my best Shannon Sharp. It don't matter. Like,
no, it does
don't
matter.
care. You got 16 games after the first
You're
one.
missing my point.
No, I'm not. You got 16 games after the first one to prove whatever it is you want to prove, to have whatever kind of measuring contest you want to have. Start 1-0. Start the season off right.
I get it.
At whatever it takes.
I'm not saying that you should want Burrow to play for that reason.
Yeah.
I'm saying if he does play and the Browns win, well, I shouldn't say if he does play. He's playing.
Yeah.
And the Browns win, you're going to be flying off that.
Are you 2-0 if he plays? Does it count as 2 wins or 1 win?
I think as a defense, what happens is you see those guys, and Joe Burrow's been playing at the last part of it. Any teams that's playing when it's still January out, you get a little boost from that. Now, you can't go out and win the next game because of that, but you can say, look, we got Kenny Pickett this week. That ain't Joe Burrow. They got Pickens over there. That's not Jamar Chase.
Right.
Deontay Johnson is not T. Higgins. So they go into that game, and now on a short week, it gives you a boost, right? Because it's going to be on Monday Night Football. It's a short week in front of national audience. If you can win that game against Joe Burrow, it gets you up a little bit more. Be like, okay, let's go out and get 2 in a row.
Don't matter. It don't matter.
I get it. I get what you're saying. But as a fan, you're going to feel better beating Joe Burrow than
Let me tell you, Browns fans will feel just fine.
Yes.
At 1-0.
You'll feel great either way, but you'll feel greater beating Joe Burrow. All right. I forgot what I was going to say.
What were you going to say? Say it.
I can't remember.
Say it with your chest, Bull.
It had something to do with that win.
Oh, you're gonna be.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. If now, with knowing that Burrow's playing, now we turn to Denzel Ward.
Okay.
Because I'm expecting Denzel Ward to be back from a concussion, but you never know, right? You never know. It's not like a muscle injury because you don't know how people can react to concussions. But with Burrow playing, it's a much bigger deal. The Browns need Denzel Ward. You want all hands on deck when you face that offense.
All right.
And Denzel Ward now, because the focus was, not from a Browns perspective, but the focus nationally on this game in terms of injuries was on Burrow. Well, now it's not. Now it's on Ward. Because the difference between having 2 solid corners and 3 is a big deal when you're playing a team like the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
So how concerned are you about Denzel Ward right now?
I'm not, because he got the game was on what, Saturday or Sunday? With the Chiefs.
Sunday.
It was
So
on,
you had 2
on-
weeks.
No, the game was
No,
Saturday.
Saturday.
Chiefs
It was
game was
Saturday.
My
Saturday.
bad. You were
So,
right.
Bad
you got
job
2
out of
weeks.
you, Bull.
So you got 2 weeks with no contact, 2
Yeah.
weeks to get back ramped up where you're working out, running without any headaches or symptoms. They're not going to be hitting anybody. And this just goes to show you, if this game was against the Tennessee Titans, you might see a guy like Denzel Ward be like, who y'all got out there who I'm covering? Who am I covering again?
Traylon Burks.
Traylon Burks. No, I'm cool. Let go. G New and let me deal with them. MJ Emerson and shut him down. That's light. But you coming out there and it's the Bengals. They've been talking trash with the Bengals 2-3 years about who shut down who right. Better than who. And now when you got a guy like Jamar Chase out there who you're asking to shut down, now that's more of incentive. Now it's like, look, we need you out here because it's Jamar Chase. That's a challenge. And you don't want to be seen as a person that's like ducking away or shying away. You get a new invigorated sense of urgency. And guess what? It's Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Yes, he'll be ready because he knows what type of time we is. That's the great advantage of playing primetime opponents early in the season.
Mike, have we had an update on Denzel Ward? Has there been any update on him in the last 24 hours or so?
I have not seen any update on Denzel Ward. The latest
there's nothing.
that I've read is he's still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
And they're going to proceed with caution.
Yeah,
Jason, if you
It's hard to predict, Jason.
I was at practice yesterday. And,
Oh, you were?
Yeah, and Kevin said, like, no update, still in protocol.
Yeah.
He was asked, is there when you have the number of concussions that Denzel's had, does the protocol change at all? And no, to the best of everyone's knowledge, it's still the same. Like, there's no additional testing or anything. I mean, with concussions, I mentioned it in passing the other day, but like, you're a baseball guy. Justin Morneau's career was basically ended by concussions. And
right.
one bad concussion cost him like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah.
So until you kind of assume he'll be back.
Right.
But it's by no means a guarantee. Like, all these are different. Everything is
right.
Every concussion is sort of its own in terms of recovery and timeline, and we just don't know. So you would hope that he'd be back. But, man, you start getting up in the type of numbers where he's at with these, I don't think anything's a guarantee at this point.
Did you sense any vibe being there? Nothing on him?
No.
I mean, he's the only player where there's nobody else nicked up right now, is there? Well, I mean, obviously Taki and Anthony Walker haven't played much, but they're supposed to be ready to go.
Yeah.
As far as we know. So, I mean, the Browns come into this.
Walker was in pads yesterday. I saw him coming off the field. I didn't see Taki, but that didn't mean anything.
The Browns are in good shape health-wise. I mean, again, it's unknown Ward because it is a concussion you don't know. I think we're all going to assume he's going to play until we see him not play. But the Browns got through this training camp / preseason in
relatively
good
healthy
shape here. Yeah. And there's no doubt that that's a good sign. But
is there any relative? We did get through it, but are you concerned about any relative rust, especially defensively? No Delpit all training camp. No Myles Garrett all training camp. Pretty much no Greg Newsome. Pretty much no Denzel. MJ Emerson played the most.
Yeah.
Are you kind of concerned with, especially your 2 linebackers too?
I think it's fair to say that. On the other hand, I could say the same thing. Joe Burrow didn't play in the preseason.
Yep.
Chase and Higgins didn't play in the preseason.
Yep.
I don't know if Joe Mixon did. I don't think he did either. So most of their line played some, but for the most part, their Bengals didn't start on offense. Didn't play much at all.
Even they'll have to both work it out.
Right. Exactly.
Week 1 is always wonky. In the NFL, like
it's the hardest week to predict.
There's
games.
more variables in week 1 than any other. I think because sort of what we're talking about here with rust and guys really coming in for the first time, and there are some kinks to work out. So
what's funny is week 1 is really the hardest week to predict in the NFL.
It is,
and yet people overreact to week 1 as if that's what the team is all the time.
Well, that's the only thing you have to go off.
True, I mean, we all do it.
Yeah,
but it is interesting, Mike.
I have a read real quick, and I have a poll that I think is going to shock you guys. But first, whenever we ask the YouTube chat a question, it's brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
PCC is the OG of Ultimate Cleveland
Of the
Sports Show advertising.
UCSS
We love them.
sponsorship routine catalog. Excuse me. We have over 400 votes in this poll. I put it up as G. Bush said it earlier. Simple question: do you want to play against Joe Burrow in Week 1? Do you want him to play? Before I tell you the answer, what do you think the chat said?
It's impossible to know what the chat said.
85% said no.
I think
No. Go ahead.
76 said yeah.
I'd say very high say yeah because our fans are very confident right now.
Yeah, I would say
They're to the point
I
of
would
cocky,
say yes wins.
and I'm going to say 83 wins. 83 yes on Burrow. We all saying yes on Burrow.
Okay, so maybe you can predict the chat. 79% of 322 votes say yes, they want to play Joe Burrow.
Y'all are crazy.
And one comment in particular: we want the smoke.
Oh,
We're
okay.
ready for Burrow.
Okay.
Look, they like, you know what? We've been telling them, right? How many times did we say we've been referencing the quarterback show, right? And what did Patrick Mahomes say?
Yeah.
You know, it's a better matchup if Trevor Siemian or Browning play.
Yeah.
But we want Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But we want Joe. So if they're doing a little virtue signaling. Like, if you think Patrick Mahomes was cool for saying that, how are we going to not have the same sort of standard?
There you go.
We want the smoke in Joe Burrow too if we want to go to the playoffs. But there's a small part of your mind that says, is that wise calling out Joe Burrow? I think if he wasn't hurt, I still think people think he's not going to be 100%. So if he was 100%, maybe the points are a little
No,
low.
our fans are very confident right now, so I get it.
It's Week 1.
Yeah.
Every fan base in the league is confident right now, but
All right.
if there's $1 on the ground, pick it up, baby. Pick it up.
All right, speaking of competition in the AFC, Mike, we're going to switch gears and go to that next.